sad as it is also true that we have all accepted lies that we have been told. And it really affects the way we handle life and how we handle situations. Have you checked your life of late? What are some of the lies that you have been told that you believed? And those lies actually have affected the way you interact, the way you reason, the way you make plans, the way you actually live. And boy, it is so discouraging and so heartbreaking once you realize that all these are lies and that the reason why you probably are where you are. Sad. Let's get into the video and have more conversations. Rise and shine, oh rise and shine. My name is Marian Mikalindongo. Karibu sana. This is the Growth Space, and we are so glad that you're here. You know, I'm just sitting here thinking there are so many lies I have believed that have affected probably the way I did and made decisions in my past. Well, some of those lies have made me a better person, but majority of them have really affected my way of reasoning. They have caused me to be incapacitated in a way. As much as I wasn't destabilized 100, they really affected my choices and my decisions, and they really affected my core and who I was as a person and as I am. Now, I am talking to someone who is probably living a life that has been informed by the lies they have believed. I'm going to start with the biggest one of all, the aspect of success. We have all been given a way of doing things. And there is a stipulated kind of steps that we feel like we need to follow once we are here on earth. It's being born, having your time of infancy, getting to childhood, starting school, finishing that, and now after finishing school get a job and then work your ass off, probably get in the workplace, you find at some point you get married, have children, and if you're lucky, probably the job you chose, now that also is part of the lies we believe. Then that also informs probably how soon you will probably build, if you decide to mortgage as well, and then that affects when you retire and the retirement, and then you go to retirement, live a few years and die. And that is a lie, because we are all unique and we do not have to have a linear way of living. I have looked at a lot of successful people, and that is, I feel, is a lie, because I have seen people who are successful that didn't necessarily follow the linear way of doing things. They actually decided, you know what, I'm dropping out at class 3. I probably will not go to the university. So immediately after they finish their A levels, they decide, you know what, I'm not going to uni, I'm just gonna go in do business, and somewhat somewhere there down the line they just become successful. And of course, because some of us get successful differently and we term success differently, there are others who probably build early, they just have their own life figured out early, and all that and all that. So some of these lies have really affected us because we have been trying to live up to that particular standard of living where we feel like there's a particular linear progression that we need to follow. And once you feel like you have gotten where you need to go and advance to the next step, and life is not working that way, and you feel delayed, you feel denied, you feel unaccepted, and then you feel like you are an imposter, and there's that imposter syndrome that is now gonna happen there, and then you enter into depression, and that causes you to also just be in a place of having a lot of urgency to want to now penetrate to the next level. Some of us compromise our morals at this particular time. If you're a lady, you start panicking because you're wondering, why are men not approaching me? The age factor is now coming in. And honestly, all of these things are in our head, in our mind, and in our spaces. Now, I am talking to you because right now I am in my early 30s, and I feel like even when I talk to people and the people around me sometimes also put me in a box because they feel like probably what I am doing right now and what I have is not enough. I know that even sometimes when things are not working for you, people will tend to say that you're lazy. That is why you're not outgoing, you're not pushing yourself, you're not trying, you're not putting your effort as you should. And there's just a lot that is going on. But today I just came to burst a few bubbles because heck, we are totally different. We are called for different purposes. I am here on earth to do an assignment that, of course, is not similar to yours. We might actually be in the same field, we might actually be doing similar things, but we are not anywhere living the same kind of life. And I know, especially parents, we tend to compare. Yeah, compare and contrast our children because you feel like this one is following, this one is more successful. For whatever reason, the standard has been set, and a lot of things have really affected us. I know that there is something that you have believed as a lie. And today I want us to bust those bubbles. So if there is a lie that you believed that has affected probably the way you made your choices, kindly write them in the comment section so that we can have a conversation concerning them. And if it's something funny, we laugh it off even as we encourage other people, probably those that are younger than us, so that they can learn, right? Okay. That being said, I am here to tell us one thing. A lot of things that we believe are a lie. And this is why. Because there is nothing that is supposed to be similar between me and you. I promise you. You are so unique in a way that I do not need to be anything anywhere in comparison to you. You have your people, your audience, the people that you need to impact and touch lives, and I have my own. And we can actually try and be like we are age mates, we were born in the same year, the same month, we are in the same age set, but we are totally called for different things. My time of impact probably has not come. I am trying to imagine if Jesus was in our time and in our era. He began his ministry at the age of 33. That is when he literally like was now going and just becoming who he was born to be at 33. He had 32 years of not figuring himself out because I feel he already knew, but it was at 33 that he really exploded and now began to do what he was meant to do. And some of us feel like you're 25 or 12 or 13 and you're already having pressure because you feel like, no, I am old. I am getting to a place where I need to now be having a job. I need to be earning. I need at some point, I need to move out, and all those things that really affect us. I will give us an example. When I first got employed, I had this urgency that I felt, because I felt like life is lean, that particular progression. Once I began working, I felt like I needed to move out. Of course, there were so many other factors that also encouraged me to do that because of course, the distance where I was working and where my mom was staying. That was also a factor. But the urgency to just want to move out was there because there was that linear progression I felt like I needed to go through. Well, the decision to move out wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was good because I learned to trust God and actually just send myself and just learn to survive, which was a good thing. But there are some unnecessary challenges I went through that I didn't need to go through because I can actually learn even from observing other people and even listening to testaments of other people and be like, oh, okay, so those are some of the things that people go through, and I don't necessarily have to go through the heart. So today, can we agree that you can actually learn a lesson? You don't have to go through the process. You can actually learn a lesson from your neighbor. Yeah, let's please agree that you do not have to go through pain so that you can learn. You do not actually have to go through heartbreak so that you can learn how heartbreaks feels. You don't have to. You can actually cut yourself all that heartbreak and just be like, okay, so what are the red flags? What am I supposed to be looking out for? And be ready to listen, to learn, to unlearn, and be like, okay, I can work on that. I can actually improve myself without necessarily being embarrassed, being demeaned by a man. In the unlearning some of the lies that we have learned is that you don't have to go through that particular challenge, that particular heartache, that particular bad situation for you to learn anything. Because how many of us have seen people who have gone through bad situations and they don't learn? They actually say that they have learned and then they repeat the same mistake. Let's take a good advice, a good example of alcoholics. Yeah, I came for you. When you are having your hangover in the morning, yeah, you swear, I will never again shall I ever be found anywhere drinking. It can never be me. Never. Alcohol is stupid. It is for stupid people. I will never. And then tomorrow, or even some minutes after you have already finished throwing your fast and just complaining because you're vomiting, someone calls you out again and you're very quick to run because you're like, hey, party after party. You have honestly forgotten that 2 seconds ago, an hour ago, 24 hours are not even over, that you had said that by then you're never drinking again. It happens. So some of these things are just lies that we keep and telling ourselves. It's true. Time and chance happen to us all. That is scripture and it is very true. Time and chance happen to us. Take advantage of the chances that you have. But when it comes to lies of what people are just inflicting urgency that is not necessary in your life, please tell them to back off. Do life the way you should do it, not from pressure, not from believing some of these things that we are told out here. And it's good to listen to elders, but some of these elders are speaking out of fear, out of regret, and they're like, you know what, these are some of the things I went through and I wouldn't want you to go through them. Of course, yes, that's a very good person to listen to because they don't want you to go through the same thing. But I know of parents who are so fearful of the mistakes that they made that they actually put you in a box because they don't want that fear of what they experienced to happen to their children. But they do not know probably once you do that particular thing, the results might be actually very different from what they experienced. I'll give an example. I know of parents who have gone through situations and out of the fear of what they experience, they actually shield their children too much to a point that they actually make their children spoiled while they're trying to avoid whatever it is or prevent them from the things that they themselves probably were victims of. And this is my approach, and what I would think probably someone in their position would do is do not uh, hinder them from becoming. What you can do is actually walk them in the journey of understanding why that thing is not good, so that you also give them a place where they can make decisions and be like, I own up to this decision and I love what I decided to do with myself here, rather than you just dictating this is the way you should go, this is the way you should go. Because what you're doing is making that person very unstable, and you will affect even the way they are once they grow up. The people they will end up with can end up taking advantage of them and misusing them. So, as I was talking about lies that I believed and how to unlearn them. So, you also, number one, for you to unlearn a lie, you have to identify the lie. So, I think the first thing you should do, even as you are unlearning some of the lies that you have believed, is also looking at your life and analyzing what are these lies that you have believed. Yeah, what are the things that for you feel like, oh my goodness, this one has been a lie all my life and I need to now unlearn it. So you first and foremost observe your life, analyze and just shift and is it shift and look at what is lies that you have actually been told. And lies vary from individuals because of course we have a different expected end. So, of course, my lie cannot be your lie, although we can have similar ones. But you are the best person to analyze your life and be like, this is a lie compared to where I want to go, right? So, once you analyze your life and you discover the lies, then comes the process of unlearning them. Unlearning can be easy and difficult at the same time, because once you identify it's a lie and you're very conscious about it, and you now want to change, it can be very easy and be like, every other time I'm very conscious, this one I am unlearning. But of course, for someone who has learned whatever they have learned for a long period of time, it can be difficult. Sometimes you will find yourself reacting fast, and then you'll come, oh, this is the lie, and I need to change it. So you will find that the progress in terms of unlearning is not as easy or as seamless as it would be for someone who is so conscious about it and who has decided, by this one is something that I'm doing away with. So of course, it is you observing your life, analyzing, and just being like, this is the lie. Then after you identify the lie, you consciously deciding whether I'm going to change it. And because lies, of course, in this particular case also are in different areas of our lives, then that of course now becomes very different for everybody to unlearn in their own way. What I will just encourage us, even before I conclude the video, is that unlearning won't be easy. It will take a bit of time. For some, it can be actually as easy as I know this is a lie, tomorrow I am changing my life altogether, and that works for them. But then there's another person probably who the lie is more mental, might take a bit longer, because then that will be a mind game that they need to change themselves and constantly speak to themselves so that they can overcome the lie. When it is more of the acting and the doing, it is easy to be like, okay, I'm not doing that, and you just decide and you're done. But when the lie comes in with our mental aspect and it has our emotions involved, then of course it takes a bit of time. So of course that won't be linear. It can actually fluctuate from one person to the other. So depending on where you are, then unlearn in your own terms, and just make sure that at the end of the day, because you have discovered it's a lie, have an intentional way and practical way of doing it so that you can overcome. So for me, what I have learned to do is observing and just analyzing. Some of the things are actually become truths, and I am there thinking and living as if they are truth. I can swear by them, and then I discover, wait a minute, why do I swear by some of these things? And I'm there thinking, that is my life. And then I'm like, oh, this is another lie that has been so socialized in my system, that I have actually believed it and I have been acting it, and now I need to unlearn it. So what I do is consciously tell myself that I need to work on it, then now begin the journey of now coming from the step of believing it as a truth to unlearning it and de-associating with it as a lie. I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, so thank you so much for being in this video. My name is Mariam Mukali. See you on the next vlog. Bye bye.